Yes. Unacademy Combat. Compete, crack, conquer.
A challenging GATE contest engineered to give you an experience like none other.
Where you put your knowledge to test
and battle it out with a test
To bring out the best in you, Unacademy Combat is the most competitive, gamified contest for GATE till date, with the best of the questions by best educators.
with detailed video solutions from top educators right after each contest.
Combat live with peers to get real-time rankings and win big.
Participate in every contest to improve your ratings.
Challenging contests every fortnight or alternate Sunday. Live ranking after every question. Big rewards for top rankers. Your passion to crack GATE deserves this. Your hard work towards your dream deserves this. Fuel your inner fire for the ultimate GATE challenge. Unacademy Combat. Register now.
Hello and welcome guys once again in the lecture of control system, right? So without wasting time, I am going to give my introduction once again because it's a part of our quality assurance audit. So I have to go for the subscription once again, right? My name is Rajat Kumar Jain and I have qualified GATE with AIR 212. In the year 2012, I have qualified most of the PSUs pursuing PhD in control system. Having 11 years of teaching experience and usually take most of the subjects which are common to EI and EC engineering. You can use my code RAJAT11 to get 10% discount on Unacademy Plus subscription. Why you should do the subscription? Because of the following benefits. You should do the subscription. Live classes, crash courses, weekly test, doubt solving sessions. Classes are in both languages, English and Hindi. So guys, you can have the benefits of Plus subscription in Iconic subscription as well. Iconic subscription is the superset of Plus subscription. The Iconic subscription gives you the additional benefit of personal coach, study planner, study booster, personalized test analysis, dedicated doubt clearing instructors, preparatory study material. These are the benefits of Iconic subscription. So how you can connect with us on Unacademy? Right, or top educators on Unacademy, you can simply write Unacademy learning app in your Google Play Store in your mobile phone. You just click on to install button, the app will be installed. Use your email number, mobile number and name for registering into the app. Mobile number and email must be verified. After verification, you will be able to go under the manage goals section where you can find various courses, and among those courses, GATE and ESE is right now our cup of tea, right? So GATE and ESE, select on plus, click on get subscription. You will be asked to select any one subscription plan, right? You can apply my demo code here again, once again RAJAT11, and you can get additional 10% discount. So just click on to apply, and after that click on to proceed to payment. The payment summary is available. Now guys, the very important thing is that the EMI is available for subscription. So those who are having financial implications, they can go with EMI option also. So guys, remember, for by paying one fees, you are taking advantage of two courses, GATE and ESE, two prestigious examinations. You can do the plus subscription at a rate of this much, right? For 12 months, 18 months and 24 months. Again, you can use my code RAJAT11 to get additional 10% off. You can use GATE and you can use my code here in Iconic subscription also, which is covering more benefit. Iconic subscription is available for 12 months and 24 months. It is not available for 18 months. So it is suggested that the students who are right now in second year, the students who are in third year, they can go for 24-month subscription. The students who are at least 12-month subscription for third year students, 24-month subscription for second year students, and the passed out students can also do that 12-month subscription. Okay guys. So if you subscribe, you will be able to learn from top educators of the country. Some of them are AIR 1 GATE rank holders. Some of them are IITN. Some of them are having experience of PSU. Some of them are having experience of qualifying IES. So this is very good to learn from these learned persons, right? Batch E is already started from 1st March for 2022. The batch E for 2022 for EC engineering, that was for electrical engineering. Similarly, for electronics and communication engineering, batch E Ascend for GATE 2023. Similarly, GATE 2023 for electrical engineering. We have started the new batches. We have already started the general study batch for ESE 2021. It has been announced and it will be conducted in the month of July. ESE Engineering Service Examination in the month of July. Okay guys, you can follow me on Unacademy at https://unacademy.com, at Rajat K Jain 1708, and you can enjoy my free classes by using my code RAJAT11. Okay, you can join the Unacademy GATE English YouTube channel, Unacademy GATE English Telegram channel. This is having 1200 plus subscribers. This is having 5000 subscribers, the YouTube channel, guys. So do inform your friends to join this particular channel. We the faculty member at Unacademy GATE English, providing you the free facility in terms of various videos of various subjects for GATE and ESE preparation, guys. So take this benefit at most. So the Telegram channel is going to give you the lecture notes. Right after this lecture, I am going to post the notes of both the lectures, the quiz information, and all those things are available onto the Telegram channel. So guys, do hurry and join this Telegram channel. So we are here in lecture number 18, and we continue with the previous discussion. We discussed what is root locus, introduction to root locus. Then we discussed what is angle criteria and what is magnitude criteria, and we saw certain examples. So we continue with that example which we were doing at that time. Okay, so we have solved this, that this point S1 is located on root locus of this particular system. This point S1 is located on root locus of this particular system. This we have proved using the angle condition, because if we apply angle condition, then we find that the angle of GS due to this point S1 minus 3 plus J3 is coming to be odd function, that is minus 180 degree. So we say that yes, it is, this particular point is located on root locus of this particular transfer function. We also determined the value of gain. So gain value can be determined by K by S into S plus 6, taking its mod at S equal to S1 and equating this mod equal to 1. So we determined that gain value as 18. Now I concluded that particular lecture by saying that we can determine the gain by some another method. So let's discuss that another method, graphical method to determine gain. Okay guys, graphical method to determine gain. Please pay attention. We have determined the gain as K upon S into S plus 6 at s equal to s1 is equal to 1, we substituted s1 as minus 3 plus j3, right? So after substitution it was like this, minus 3 plus j3 minus 3 plus j3 plus 6, which is solved as k by minus 3 plus j3 into 3 plus j3, and that is equal to 1. That is equal to 1, right? So this ultimately solved as that is equal to 1. That means its mod is equal to 1, which ultimately solved as root 3 square plus 3 square root 3 square plus root 3 square equals to 1, which is ultimately solved as 18. So k comes to be 18. Now we have to find out the graphical approach. What do we mean by graphical approach? So the graphical approach says that the value of gain k at a particular point on root locus can be determined after the verification of angle criteria, and the value of gain k is vector length product of vector length of pole upon product of vector lengths of zeros. The k can also be determined at that particular point using this. So what do we mean by now the vector length of pole and vector length of 0? For this we have to plot the pole 0 map. The pole 0 map is s equal to 0, there is a pole, and s equal to minus 6, there is a pole. There are two poles. Now we want to locate this particular, we have to locate this particular point, that is test point. This is our test point which we want to check, which is called as test point. So test point we have to locate onto S plane. So say it is minus 3 and it is say plus j3, and that will be minus j3. So we don't bother about minus j3 because only plus j3 is available. So this is our point, test point. This is test point P. Say this point is P. Now we want to find out the gain at this particular point. We have already determined that this point is lying onto the root locus. We have already determined that. Now we want to find out the gain at this particular point. So one of the method we have already discussed. Now this method says that we have to determine the vector length of pole. So here are the vector length of pole means we have to join the line from this pole to this pole and this pole to this pole. Okay, let's do it with a different color. So this line is L1 and this line is L2, right? So we have to find out the value of L1 and L2. So clearly from the trigonometry the value of L1 and L2 can be determined, right? What will be the value of L1 and L2? What will be the value of L1? By simply using the Pythagoras theorem we can find out the value of L1 and L2. What will be L1? L1 will be 3 square plus 3 square, right? This is 3, this length is 3, and this length is also 3, because minus 6 3 minus 3 minus minus 6 is going to become plus 3, and similarly plus 3 minus 0, it is going to become 3. So root 3 square plus 3 square, that is coming to be 18, and similarly L2 will be, this is also 3 and this is also 3. So root 3 square plus 3 square, that is root 18. So our k will be, now there are no zeros, therefore this product of vector length of 0 will be called as 1. In the absence of 0 it will be called as 1. So root 18 root L1 into L2 divided by 1, that is root 18 into root 18, that is going to be 18. So our gain k at particular point which is valid onto the root locus can be determined using this graphical approach. So is it clear? Is it clear to everyone? Please let me know so that we can go ahead. Graphical method of determining K. Is it clear to everyone? Okay, Sateja, let's now solve this particular problem. Now it's for you to solve this particular problem. For the transfer function gs k by s plus 1 to the power 4, check whether the point s1 and s2 lies onto the root locus or not. Where L1 and L2 once more. Okay, just explaining once more L1 and L2. It's a simple trigonometric thing, dear. Let's find out once again what is L1, what is L2, what is the entire procedure. Okay. We have to draw the pole 0 map. First of all, draw the pole 0 map. Okay, this is the pole 0 map. Pole is located after looking at the transfer function. We will be able to find out the poles and zeros. So pole and zeros are located on S plane. Now the test point is located on S plane. This is our test point. So this is our -3, right? Now we have to draw the vector length. So draw the vector length means we have to join the pole from the test point, and similarly the zero from the test point. Like this, we have to join the pole and both n number of poles. If there are n number of poles, we have to join all the poles with the test point. Similarly, n number of zeros, we have to join all the zeros with the test point. Okay, now after joining the test point, we have to determine this length. That length is called as L1. This length is called as L2. So we can give any name to it, right? L1, L2, it's just a variable. You can say ABC also, right? Like that. So L1, L2 we have to determine. So what is the best value to, what will be the best approach to determine L1? What will be the best approach? Obviously the Pythagoras theorem. We have to apply Pythagoras theorem. So we have this horizontal distance. We have this vertical distance. Then can't we apply the value of, can't we find the value of L1? That will be what? The horizontal distance. How much? In terms of magnitude we are talking about. It is 3 plus vertical distance in terms of magnitude 3, right? So it is 9 plus 9, that is root 18. That is our L1. Similarly, we can find out L2. What is L2? Now again, this distance from 0, it is 3, and this distance vertical is 3. So this L2 will be what? Again 3 square plus 3 square, that is root 18. So our K comes to be L1 into L2, that is root 18 into root 18 equals to 18, which is verified from the earlier calculation. Now it is clear to you, Sateja? Alright. Now you check which of these points are located on S, on the root locus of the given transfer function. The given transfer function is k upon s plus 1 to the power 4. Check whether point s1 and s2 lies on the root locus or not. Where s1 is -3 plus j4, s2 is -3 minus j2. Just check and tell me the answer quickly, Seteja. Is the point S1 is located on root locus? Let's check point S1 first. Then we will be discussing point S2. First of all, let's check point S1. Whether S1 is located on the root locus or not. Okay, point S1. So, angle of GS due to point S1. Let's find out that. That means we have to simply substitute in S the S1 value. S1 value is minus 3 plus J4 plus 1 to the power 4. So K upon minus 3 plus 1, that will be minus 2 plus J4 to the power 4. To calculate its angle, I can write it as like K plus J0 and 4 into angle of this function, that will be written as 180 minus tan inverse 4 upon 2. Why 180 minus? Because the real part is negative. That's why we have to write 180 minus. Whenever the real part is negative, the angle will always be calculated as 180 minus tan inverse B by A. Whenever the real part is negative. Okay. So now I can find out the value of the angle. So angle of numerator will be 0 degree. And this component we have to find 180 minus tan inverse 2. From the calculator we can solve it very quickly, right? Tan inverse 2 will be what? Let's find out. Tan inverse 2 will be 63.43 degree. That is 180 is subtracted from it. So it comes to be 4 into 116 degree approximate. So finally the answer comes to be minus 464 degree, which is not an odd multiple of 180 degree. Which is not an odd multiple of 180 degree. So from the angle criteria, this can be said that S1 is not lying on root locus. On root locus, or S1 is not onto the root locus of the given transfer function. Now let's calculate for the S2. The S2, it is calculated as K upon S. S is given as minus 3 minus J2 plus 1. Right, now K will be to the power 4, of course. Minus 3 plus 1 is minus 2 minus J2 to the power 4. Now its angle will be calculated as 4 into, now here the angle calculation again changes. Why? Because both the real and imaginary components are negative. It's third quadrant. So we have to write minus 180 plus tan inverse B by A. Minus 180 plus tan inverse B by A. Remember, when only the real part is negative, 180 minus tan inverse B by A. When both parts are negative, we have to write minus 180 plus tan inverse B by A. Tan inverse B by A. So our angle will become K by 4 into minus 180 tan inverse B by A, that means 45 degree, right? So minus 180 plus 45, that becomes minus 135, and minus 135 into 4 becomes minus 540. So our final angle comes, this angle will become 0 degree, right? So final angle comes 0 degree minus 540 degree, that comes to be plus 540 degree. Plus 540 degree is an odd multiple of 180 degree. Therefore it can be proved that, or it can be said that S2 is lying onto the root locus. S2 is lying onto the root locus. So from this particular question we can say that point S2 is onto the root locus, but point S1 is not onto the root locus. This type of questions can be asked in GATE. 4 options can be given to you. S1 is lying onto the root locus, S2 is lying onto the root locus, both are lying onto the root locus, both are not lying onto the root locus, and S1 is lying, S2 is not lying, S2 is lying, S1 is not lying. Such type of questions can be easily asked in GATE and ESE examinations. So is this question clear to everyone? Any doubt to anyone? Just writing it once again, 0 degree minus 540 degree, that comes to be 540 degree. Clear? Okay, let's go ahead. Try to solve this question. In 2 minutes, Selja, 2 minutes are sufficient to solve this question. Determine the value of gain K. It is known that S1 is onto the root locus. Okay. We have to determine the value of gain K at certain point. Determine the value of gain K. Everybody, those who are attending the lecture, we are discussing the root locus, very important method for system design. So in a simpler way, I am representing the root locus technique. So those who are interested, they can continue, right, and they can solve these problems which I have just collected for you. So GS is equals to K upon S into S square plus 7S plus 12. This is our transfer function. We have to find out the value of gain K at a point S1 minus 1 plus J1, and it is known that this point is located on root locus. So we need not to apply the angle criteria here. It is already given to us. So we will not be applying angle criteria. Okay. So 2 minutes are there for this solution, Sateja, only 2 minutes, not more than that. You should solve it in 2 minutes. Got the answer? What is the value of K? The 2 minutes are over almost. The 2 minutes are over almost. So we can do it with the two methods. One method is the method of determining method of product of vector length, or substituting the value into the equation and finding out the magnitude, right? We can do it with the two methods. The second method seems to be very effective here, right? Directly using the product length method, I can calculate the answer. See how I can do that. GS is equal to, can I write like this in terms of factors, S plus 3 into S plus 4. This can be written. Now its pole 0 map can be plotted. Its pole 0 map will be S equal to 0, there is a pole, then say minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 and minus 4. So at minus 4 we are having a pole, at minus 1 we are having a pole, and minus 1 plus J1 is our test point. It is TP. It is our test point. So say this is our test point, minus 1 plus J1. Alright. Now I sketch the product length from this point, sorry, minus 1 is not our loop, minus 1 is not our pole. Just a minute. minus 3, right? So this is our pole, s equal to minus 3, s equal to minus 4 and s equal to 0. So this is our vector length and this is our vector length. So say this is L1, this is L2 and this is L3. Now let's calculate the value of L1, L2 and L3 to determine the product gain value K. Gain value will be L1, L2, L2 into L3 divided by 1. Since no 0 are appearing, so L1, L2, L3, this is our gain value. So what is L1? L1 can be simply determined by applying the Pythagoras theorem over here. What is L1? L1 is 1. This distance is 1 and this distance is 1. So L1 is root over 1 plus 1, that is root 2. What is L2 now? Let's calculate L2. So this distance is 3. Sorry, this distance is 2 and this distance is 1. This distance from minus 3 to minus 1, this distance is 2 and this distance is 1. So it will be root 2 square plus 1, that is root 5. And what will be our L3? This distance from this point to this point, from this point to this point, it is 3 and this distance is 1. So our L3 comes to be 3 square plus 1, that is root 10. Hence our gain comes to be root 2 into 5 into 10, that is root 100, that means 10. This is the method of vector length, right? Very effective method when it is known to us that the point is located on root locus. Otherwise, we could have also solved using this method. We could have substituted in place of s minus 1 plus j1. Minus 1 plus j1, this could have been substituted over here. Then minus 1 plus j1 the whole square. 7 into minus 1 plus j plus 12. Then ultimately, by taking its mod equal, putting it equal to 1, we will be obtaining the same value as k equals to 10. This is verified. From both these methods we can do it. Okay. So just remember angle and magnitude criteria, guys. These are very important things. Now in today's lecture, right, although the lecture timing is still remaining for 15 to 20 minutes, we can continue some of the rules for constructing the root locus. Why the rules are important? As we said that we discussed in the previous lecture, if our characteristics equation order increases beyond 4, then it will be very difficult for us for directly determining the value of gain k for those value of system poles for the different values of gain k. It will be very difficult for us. So for that we have to follow certain rules for construction of root locus. These rules are actually leading how the roots will be located for different values of k. So for complicated systems the rules are important and rules has to be followed in a sequence of order only. Okay, so what are the rules? The rules are symmetry of root locus, number of root locus branches, number of root locus branches terminating to infinity, existence of a part of real axis on root locus, and angle of asymptotes on root locus. Obviously today we are not going to be we will not be able to solve certain examples, but we will be able to discuss the all roots here which are mentioned. So rule number 1, symmetry of root locus. This rule says that root locus is always symmetrical about real axis. Root locus is always symmetrical about real axis. That means whatever is the form of root locus on one side of real axis, the same form will be appear on the other side of real axis also. This root locus and this root locus will be always the same. Will always be same. That is known as root locus is always symmetrical about real axis. This is the real axis and it is onto the both sides. Not only negative real axis side but also on the positive real axis side also. So suppose the roots are diverting in this particular manner. We are having roots, certain roots, they are meeting and they are diverting in this particular manner. So one root if it is diverting on the other side, the second root will divert on this side. It is like that. It has to be followed. The symmetry has to be followed. It is the natural thing regarding the root locus. Next rule, number of root locus branches. Now here we have to remember the root locus always starts from open loop pole and terminates at open loop zeros. Open loop poles, root locus always start from open loop poles and terminates at open loop zeros. So number of root locus branches are a function of number of poles and number of zeros. Number of branches will be equal to number of poles if P is greater than Z, which is the likely normally case. Normally, if we talk about a proper transfer function, then number of poles are always more than number of zeros. And the number of branches will be equal to number of zeros if Z is greater than P. And it is very unlikely case. This case is not really possible. So P is greater than Z. That means number of branches of root locus will be equal to P, right? P represents the number of poles and Z represents the number of zeros. Okay? Z represents the number of zeros. The next rule is, so what is that? What is root locus always start from open loop poles? That means the root locus will start from pole and terminate at the open loop zero. That zero may be finite or infinite. Now remember that zeros may be finite or the zeros may be infinite. Zeros may be finite, zeros may be infinite. That's why the rule number 3 is there. Rule number 3, number of branches terminating to infinity. Number of branches terminating to infinity. So, out of P branches, Z number of branches will be terminating at finite zeros and P minus Z number of branches will be terminating at infinity. That means that will be Z corresponding to infinity. The zero will be located at infinity. What simply says that? For an example, we are having a transfer function like this. Gs is equal to K S into S plus 1 into S plus 2. So for this transfer function, P is equal to 3, Z equal to 0 and P minus Z is equal to 3. Right. So P equals to 3, Z equal to 0. That means all the poles are going to terminate at the infinite zeros. All the poles are going to terminate at infinite zeros. Therefore, P minus Z, that means 3 minus 0, that means all the 3 branches are going to terminate at infinity because there is no finite pole is there. No finite zero is there. No finite zero is there. However, if the transfer function changes like this, it is like this, S plus 4. So the Z value now changes. It is equals to 1. So out of these 3, only one branch will terminate at this finite 0 and remaining 2 branches, now P minus Z will be 2. So remaining 2 branches will terminate to infinity. They will approach to infinity. Termination means simply they are going to approach to infinity. The pole is always going to be compensated by the 0. It simply means, physically that is simply mean pole 0. If the pole is traveling onto the S plane, the traveling has to be stopped and traveling has to be, we can say that the system for the stability of the system, the traveling of the root has to be stopped. So that traveling of root has been, the pole has been stopped with the help of the finite open loop 0. Okay. So the number of branches terminating to infinity is out of P branches, Z will terminate at finite zeros and P minus Z number of branches will terminate at infinite zeros or will be terminating at infinity. For them, the 0 is existing at infinity. Okay. Next one is existence of part of real axis on root locus. Rule number 4. Existence of a part of real axis on root locus. It simply says that if we are having this pole and 0 location for certain type of system, say S plus 1, S plus 2, like this. So S plus 1, S plus 2. Now we want to check that which part of root locus is lying onto the root locus and which part is not lying onto the root locus of real axis. This is our real axis, right? So say we want to investigate this point X, whether it is a part of root locus or not. So what is the condition for that? The condition for that is, to the right side of this point, the total number of poles and zeros should be odd in number. The condition for this point to lie onto the root locus is that to the right side of this point, the total number of poles and zeros should be odd in number and complex conjugate poles are not considered in this particular calculation. Okay, what we are checking? Existence of a part of real axis on root locus. Any part of real axis, any point on real axis is lying onto the root locus or not. This can be checked using this rule, and this is valid, and this is concluded that a point is said to be onto the root locus if to the right side of that point the total number of poles and zeros are odd in number. So if we talk about X, point X is lying onto the root locus. Yes, because 1, 2 and 3, these are the three poles of the system. So this is an odd number. Therefore, we will say that this entire part will be located on root locus because you can vary X on this entire location. Similarly, if we talk about point Y, so point Y doesn't lie onto the root locus. It doesn't lie onto the root locus because to the right side of this point, the entire root locus, to the right side of this point, the total number of poles and zeros is a even number, that is 2. This point lies onto the root locus. Yes, the point Z is also lie onto the root locus because to the right side of this point one pole is there. One pole is there, that is the odd number. If we talk about a point W over here, so is W lying onto the root locus? The answer is no. To the right side of this there is no pole or zero, that means 0. So it is not lying onto the root locus. In this way, the existence of a part of real axis on root locus can be determined. So today we conclude our session here. We have discussed 4 roots. Symmetry of root locus. Root locus is always symmetrical about real axis. Number of root locus branches. Root locus always starts from open loop pole and terminate at open loop 0. Therefore, number of poles is represented by P and number of zeros is represented by 0. That is, number of branches of root locus are dependent on number of poles and number of zeros. Number of poles and number of zeros. Alright. So, number of branches N will be equal to number of poles if P is greater than Z, which is a normal case, and it is equal to Z, which is if Z is greater than P. Now here we have to remember that the zeros are of two types, finite zero and infinite zero. So number of branches terminating to infinity, that means out of P branches, Z number of branches will be terminating to finite zeros and remaining P minus Z branches will be terminating to infinity. So then if there are poles, then the poles are going to terminate at, if there are zeros, then the poles are going to terminate at those finite zeros. If there are no zeros, then the poles are going to terminate at infinite zeros. That means they are going to terminate at infinity. So the next rule is existence of a part of real axis onto the root locus or a point, part or point. We can say both things, part or point of real axis on root locus. This can be examined, this can be determined by simply remembering the rule. A point on real axis is said to be on root locus if to the right side of that point, the total number of poles and zeros are odd in number. Total number of poles and zeros are odd in number. This comes from angle condition. Okay. So guys, we stop here today's discussion. It is almost time is over. Tomorrow we will continue from the rule number 5, that is angle of asymptote. Then we will be discussing the centroid calculation. then breakaway point calculation, some general predictions about breakaway point, then the real uh, then the intersection with imaginary axis, then in the second lecture we will be discussing intersection with real axis and the angle of arrival and angle of departure. So in this way, in tomorrow's two lectures we are going to discuss the complete rules of root locus. Okay guys, so this we are going to continue tomorrow. Before ending, I am going to end with a very good, beautiful quote for you all. Start by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible, and then suddenly you are going to do the impossible. Right? Impossible always says that I am possible. Right? So guys, nothing is impossible for you. If you want to achieve something, you have to set your goals and you have to work in that particular direction. Okay guys, so do attend our lectures, do attend this quiz, Unacademy combat quiz competition which is held every fortnightly. Last Sunday it was held on 28th February. Maybe on the next week or on the next to next week's Sunday it will be also held again. The participating branches will be ME, CE, EE, ECE, CS and IT and IN. The rank 1 holder, 2 and 3 holder will be awarded with plus subscription, and the remaining rank holders will be awarded with Amazon vouchers. So guys, do join this particular Unacademy quiz competition which is held every Sunday, and to unlock this particular test you can use my code RAJAT11. To unlock this particular test you can use my code RAJAT11. For the root locus rules, tomorrow we are going to discuss the two lectures. Okay, so do join those two lectures. Creatrix, GATE, these are the India's #1 studies channel that you can join for GATE and ESE studies. Okay guys, do join these channels. And if you have liked this lecture, please click on like button, share, do share and do subscribe and hit the bell icon for all the